It's Thursday afternoon, and this is Bill Bunkley Show. And we've talked a lot about what's been happening in terms of, just your health insurance, and all that's been going along with that. And, of course, the last few weeks we've been talking about how you can not only find out more about how to get health insurance if you don't have health insurance, even if you have a policy now, about getting a second opinion. And we've talked about some options to where you could drop in and have someone do an analysis. Well, here's another alternative for you. And if you would like to have someone come and discuss the very same issues with you in the convenience of your home, well, that's what we're going to be talking about this afternoon, because this is yet another option where you don't have to jump on a computer. You don't have to start looking at tens of thousands of options or whatever that ends up to be. I'm exaggerating, of course. But again, this is having someone who is a healthcare specialist, someone who is absolutely trained and has a long-term work within the field, and making sure that you're getting all the right answers. Now, to talk about that today is the Director of Sales for A&B Insurance and Financial. And I want to tell you what, this is a well-respected, a very large agency right here in the state of Florida. And Mark Carbillano is with me this afternoon. He is an HCR specialist dedicated to have the most informed and educated agents in the state. And that's what we're talking about, some of the men and women that can come to your location. Now, they have been located right here in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. Owners Brian Greenberg and Henry Mahler have had a relationship with Florida Blue as the #1 agency right here for many years. And right here in our listing area, we have offices of theirs in Tampa, Newport Richey, Orlando, Naples, and all throughout South Florida. 100 agents are right here in the local Tampa Bay area to serve you. And by the way, if you yourself or your friends or your neighbors, if you speak Chinese, Vietnamese, French, Creole, even English and Spanish, they can help you. And with that, Mark, it's good to have you with us this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Boy, 30 years of being in the market, and you've seen a lot of changes. This year there's a lot of changes, but I know that you have had an ongoing relationship with AB Insurance with Florida Blue. Talk about that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I haven't been with A&B for 30 years, obviously.
You're a young man.
But I've been the director for them for quite some time. And family-owned business, which is a wonderful thing. And all of our agents live here. We work here. We really understand the market. And we're here to help our Florida residents because we only focus on Florida. The only people that we help are our Florida residents, and it makes a big difference because what's going on in the marketplace, quite frankly, what's happening in Albuquerque, New Mexico, has no bearing on what's going on in Tampa and Largo and St. Pete. And we are able to help our folks really understand what's going on in the marketplace and what's going on with all of this mumbo-jumbo that you're hearing when it comes to all of these different areas. So we're very excited to be able to help people and guide them through this confusing process.
Now, of course, folks can try and go on a website and try and figure out what to do if they're without insurance, but it's a very daunting task. Tell us how and why it's important with your 30 years of experience, very trusted in the marketplace. Why would someone want to, say, request one of the agents from A&B Insurance to come out and pay them a visit?
Well, the way that I look at it personally is, I don't do my own taxes. I'm not going to give myself medical advice. That's for sure. If I ended up in a legal situation, I'm going to get an attorney. You need a professional that can help understand your personal needs, because what's good for you, Bill, is different than me and my family, and everyone has a unique situation. So having an agent that can understand your situation, do a good needs analysis, making sure that we understand the doctors that you're going to see, the facilities that you're going to want to visit, even the medications that you're going to take, is all part of that plan selection process. And it's really important because if you pick that wrong plan, with everything's changing in this marketplace now, it works very much like Medicare programs. We're not able to make that change, and that's one of the things that people just don't understand these days. And one of the real reasons I wanted to be here today to spend some time with you is to make sure we get that message out. Because a wrong decision could impact you for the duration of the year, and you won't be able to make that change or make any adjustments until next year, which could cause a problem, especially if you fall upon hard times with your health or new medications or things like that.
And that's what we're talking about today. And by the way, if you're by your computer or you have your smartphone, go right now to ab-financialgroup.com. That's ab-financialgroup.com, and you can begin looking at the website for the A&B Insurance and Financial Company. And also jot this number down if you'd like to talk to one of Mark's agents. That's 877-284-8202. That's 877-284-8202, and we'll have that website and phone number again in just a moment. So if you didn't get it this time, just get a piece of paper and a pencil, and we'll get that to you. Now, people get out there and like to confuse things. And the way they like to confuse it is they'll go on and tell folks, well, you better be careful because if you call A&B Insurance and Financial, you know they're going to charge you when one of those agents come out. What would you say to those folks?
Well, our services are at no additional cost. You know, people say all the time, well, I'm just going to go at it on my own. I'm going to take care of it on my own. I'll figure it out. And again, it's not good advice. It's, again, like doing our own taxes, just getting back to that and understanding when you're looking at medical advice and these kind of things, you need a professional. Under Florida rules and regulations, it's the same price, whether you get it direct on some website or from some other person. It doesn't matter. If you're buying a policy ABC from Agent 1, Agent 2 on your own, no matter where you're getting that policy, the policy is the same price. So you could feel comfortable that you're not paying extra to have that involvement from the agent. And quite honestly, at the end of the day, when you look at it, it actually ends up saving you money. Because when you look at the wrong decision and what that wrong decision could cost you in the long run, it could be very costly. Making that wrong decision, pay more in co-pays, pay more in premiums, just picking the wrong plan and not being able to see the doctor that you want to see, that could be a costly mistake. And what our agents will do is sit with you, make sure that you're able to access the facilities that you want to, and again, taking those needs into consideration, and that's why you have a professional help you, like anything. I wouldn't put a roof on my house either. So, and
I want to tell you, there's a long checklist. There really is when it comes to health insurance. And if you're out there today, either without insurance or possibly with a plan, just today somebody was telling me about the plan that their mother is on, and she got bumped off her primary physician. All these things are happening now. I can't tell you what's going to happen in your situation, but the best thing is she was telling me about her mom doesn't want to go anywhere because she's afraid to do anything that she may lose what she has. Let me tell you, there's always a reason to get a second opinion in so many aspects of life. And even if you have insurance today, we are recommending that you follow up with AB Insurance and get that second opinion. Why? Because they're experts. They know. They'll ask you everything about what you're taking now, what's your meds, who's your doctors, who's a specialist that you like. Now, they can't perform miracles sometimes, but they're going to match you up with the best situation given what's in the market today. Now, it's very important that you also understand that they are working with Florida Blue. And the reason why I say that, Florida Blue has been around a long, long time. Absolutely. And quite frankly, you're betting your private family-owned company on somebody else that has to come through. So tell us about Florida Blue and why it's important that they're your strategic partner.
Absolutely. I mean, Florida Blue is the premier company in the state of Florida. We insure the most Florida residents. When you look at the entire population of Florida, and we look at the number of policies that are in place and the number of people that we help, the community that we focus on, and the help that we provide to our Florida relations are second to none. Also, knowing that the extensive networks are going to be available for everyone, the payment of claims and how that process works with Florida Blue is really the customer experience is what it's all focused about. And our agency as well. You know, our customer experience is what we pride ourselves on. Helping and giving back to the community to be able to make sure that you have what you want in your hand. You know, when you're looking at something such as a call center agent, you hear all of these things all the time, which you hear in the news. You know, you're getting phone calls from A, B, and C, and it's talking about Shifting Sands of Omaha as your insurance company or some insurance company you've never heard about before. But when you come to Florida Blue, when you talk about our networks, the portability of our networks, to be able to take that policy here and use it anywhere in the country and even worldwide, You just don't get that flexibility with some of the other carriers that do business in the state of Florida.
That's why right now, if you have your computer handy, go to ab-financialgroup.com. That's ab-financialgroup.com. Click on that website and start taking a look around. And I know that some of our audience, well, you're not necessarily the computer crowd. Here's a phone number for you, 877-284-8202. That's 877-284-8202. And again, especially if you are right now without insurance, maybe you lost insurance the first of the year, maybe you don't really know what kind of insurance you have and you don't know where you're at, it always pays to get that second opinion, and we want to urge you to do that right now. Now, I know one of the things that you have is Mark talked about the value benefit programs or value benefit programs. Talk about that.
Absolutely. Now, going back just briefly when you were talking about Florida Blue, because it goes hand in hand perfectly with our care of our Florida residents, is really how we're helping Florida. You know, Florida Blue has been dedicated to offering every person in the state of Florida quality coverage. And that is really creating a healthy Florida and making sure that we are really geared towards proactive medicine as opposed to reactive medicine, meaning that we want a healthier Florida. Believe it or not, we actually want you to use your insurance policy. As most people say, oh, those insurance companies, big bad insurance companies, they don't want you to use your insurance. We actually invite it. We want you to go to the doctor, get the checkup, stay healthy. So value benefit program that is built in there is all about maintaining chronic illnesses. People with diabetes, cholesterol, high blood pressure, mental or nervous disorders. We have programs that are built into our plans where the medications can be free from our mail order pharmacies and $4 at a retail pharmacy, giving our Florida residents access to affordable medications, and in the generic form, of course, but affordable medications, preventative care benefits, as well as a slew of qualified health benefits that come in these new qualified health plans. They call them essential health benefits. And really, Florida Blue is dedicated because we're offering these benefits to every county, every person in the state of Florida, where some of the other carriers have chosen not to offer those benefits in certain counties. They picked and choose and say, oh, we like the people in Lee County, but we don't like the people in Sarasota County, or we like Miami because of the high population density, or Broward County because of the population density. But Florida Blue didn't do that. We are going to help all Florida residents, and that's what we're here for. We want to make sure everyone is healthy and protected.
Now, you've heard me talk about the fact that there is an urgency here, and that urgency is in a couple of days. We'll be celebrating the first day of March, and you have until March 31st to sign up on one of these plans. Now, there's some reasons for that. It isn't something that Mark came up with or Florida Blue. It's just part of what the overall program regulations are. Talk a little bit about what happens on March 31st, and then what happens if somebody gets busy and procrastinates and calls you on, say, April the 5th, and you have to say, man, I'm sorry. Talk about that.
That is the deep breath and sigh I make as well. And you know, this goes for our educated folks. It's not someone who is underneath a rock somewhere. Just people don't understand that you cannot wait. As of March 31st, the enrollment window closes, and you are no longer able to utilize what we're calling our initial open enrollment opportunity. And at that point, after March 31st, if you want to buy a qualified health plan, you're not able to do so. I know that's a scary thought. So what happens? So I decide I'm healthy, I'm invincible, I'm a young guy, I'm not worried about it. Nothing's going to happen to me. June rolls around. Let's just not even say it's April, but June rolls around, I get diagnosed with a debilitating illness. Well, now I need that insurance. I'm going to end up in the hospital. I need to go to the doctor. I have medications to fill. They are not able to purchase a qualified health plan unless it's in that enrollment window. That particular person would then have to wait to our next open enrollment with a 1/1 effective date. So we're moving into 2015 now. So it's very important if we could tell all of your listeners just a quick conversation with someone to make sure you understand what the ramifications are waiting and happen to do for you and your family. And it's not even necessarily just you. You got to take care of your kids. You got to make sure that your family is protected. Now, there are circumstances in which would allow you to enroll at a different time. And those are what we call special election periods. And those are going to be the birth of a child would be a special election period, or moving. If I decide to move out of a service area, that also gives us an election period. And our agents are well versed in those. We can make sure that you understand those. So if waiting is something that you decide to do, not advised, but there are many people who are just throwing their hands up and saying, I don't want to deal with this. Well, we will have and be able to illustrate those to you so you know what your enrollment options are going to be.
And I want to tell you, now is the time to start having those conversations. That website is ab-financialgroup.com. That's ab-financialgroup.com. And the number to call to arrange for someone to come at your convenience and come to your home from an agency that has a 30-year track record, people that you know, that they know, and not some just stranger coming to your household. Call right now at 877-284-8202, 877-284-8202. Just tell them that you would like to talk to one of the representatives from the AB Insurance and Financial Group because you want to get on track with your insurance. Now, just to circle back, got a couple minutes left. Even in the short time that we have visited here, Mark, I mean, you've talked about a lot of stuff. And it's one thing just to keep up with the right stuff. And then you get all of the stuff that's twirling around that's not true. Man, there is such a fog of misinformation out there. Again, tell us what's the best way to navigate this.
Well, it really depends. When you talk about that fog, it just depends on what news channel you watch, as you can imagine. You know, what one newscaster is talking about, the hurdles, and, you know, take the political views out of it. Take of what you're really feeling about it. This is something that we have to deal with because everyone needs to have insurance and protect the ones that they love. What we do is we educate, and education is the thing that we are focused on mostly, making sure that you know what's going to happen and know what's going on and what your options are.
Now, you know, a lot of our audience is my distinguished senior crowd, and of course, for many years, they have been navigating the whole Medicare and, of course, the Part A and B aspects of that. Talk a little bit in the couple of minutes that we have remaining. For folks that are in that territory, what is all this that we've been talking about? How does that affect them?
Great question. A lot of concerns from our Medicare beneficiaries when it comes to how is all of this going to affect them. And know that A and B is educated, understands, you know, what these hurdles are going to come as legislation changes. And as these change, we'll be able to inform our Tampa Bay residents, our Florida residents about these changes. Most of the changes that are going to affect Medicare are going to be pushed off to the future a little bit, and you won't see them in the next year or so. But, you know, A&B Insurance and Financial was the #1 producer for all Medicare throughout the state of Florida for Florida Blue, and we have our fingers on the heartbeat of it, and we are concerned about our Medicare beneficiaries and making sure they get the appropriate care. And hopefully we could talk about that in more detail at another time.
Now, I want to remind you that this week we're talking about the option that you can have through the AB Insurance and Financial Group for someone to come to your home. That's right. It's in your home. What's convenient about that? Well, first of all, most of your medical records are at home. Most of your prescriptions are at home. Now, if you want to have the option of going to one of the service centers for Florida Blue, absolutely, that's an option. But today, we're talking about of some of the questions, some of the qualifying questions, and you know, there's some things that may help you with subsidies. Probably one of the best places you can be at is within your home, because when one of Mark's colleagues comes out and says, hey, can you pull this out? Have you got that? That's going to help with their checklist, because remember, oftentimes you hear me say when we're either analyzing a problem or discussing an issue, we got to know what the facts are. We got to know what the real facts are, the honest facts are, because remember the old computer adage, garbage in, garbage out? Well, that's the same thing that can happen here. And one of the advantages that Mark's been talking about is that when they come to your home and you have all those records right there, they're going to be very patient and very helpful. And guess what? They're going to take your situation and they're going to evaluate that with all of the different nook and crannies and the little things that could trip you up down the road. They're going to carefully look at all of that and decide which is the best appropriate plan for you. Now, I want to remind you that especially for some of you who don't hop on the computer as much as you do, here's the telephone number to get a hold of Mark and his associates. That's 877-284 877-284-8202. That's 877-284-8202. Now, if you're like me, I like to go snoop around websites a little bit before I make that telephone call. Right now, from the comfort of your home, or even if you have one of those smartphones, right now, go to the website ab-financialgroup.com. That's ab-financialgroup.com, ab-financialgroup.com. And again, with that, you'll be able to check everything out. And before you make that phone call or make a request online, you can get an idea of just all of what they have to offer. Well, Mark, we thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. Of course, as Mark Carbillano is with us, and he is just such a great, you did a great job, by the way.
Well, thank you very much.
Very articulate, and that is exactly the kind of information and service you're going to get from his staff, and it's been our honor to have you with us today.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me today.
All right.